We're back with episode 2, we'll call it, of the 350 pull, strip and rebuild series. So, we've got the VQ35, this is the DE. That sounds tasty. So, what we're going to do is we're going to strip this down. We're not going to do a time lapse on it. We're going to just pick the camera up, talk about different things at the same time, just so you can get a little bit of information. So starting off already, Jack's took the throttle body off here. This is the plenum, which obviously feeds all the cylinders.
I've now took that off.
So, wait, what? Was that even yeah, it was. No, I'm joking. So he's took that off. So what happens through that is the air gets distributed through that, which sometimes on the stock Z's, they don't distribute air very well. So this is why a lot of people get a plenum spacer as well, or get the uprated plenum, which is it Kinetics or something like that?
I can't remember. I
can't remember the brand name exactly, so don't shoot me for that, but I'm sure it is. So what happens here is all these go down, and then there's little moles that live in there, and well, no, they don't. They go down into the centre here, which then gets distributed to each of the cylinders. Doesn't it, Jack?
Yes.
So we've got one head here and one head here, which obviously supports the V6, hence why it's called a V6, because the engine is in a V shape. So, rocker cover. This is why, again, it's a little bit different to, like say, a 4-cylinder, because majority of the 4-cylinders, well, in fact, no, all of the 4-cylinders are actually not V shaped. Oh, they've only got one head, haven't they? Yes. Can you imagine a V4? Look at my V4, baby. Right, anyway, so Jack's just taking this off and we'll be able to see underneath when he's took these 2 bolts off as well, but he's catching up slowly, aren't you, Jack?
Bit at a time.
No, they are complex, these are, to be fair. Well, I say that, they aren't complex, but they are complex, aren't they? Yeah, there's a lot of little bits and bobs, so obviously you've got 2 different fuel rails here, all connected to the same thing. So you've got one rail going this way, one rail going that way. Obviously that's going to support 3 injectors on this side, 3 injectors on the other side for, again, the 3 cylinders which is on each. So again, equaling the V6. So as Jack lifts this up, there's a gasket underneath here, and as you can see right there, this is directing this way, this is directing that way, this way, that way, this way, that way. So each one individually has 3, shall we say, induction points. Did you like that? Did you like that? Induction points. Anyway, again, like I was saying before, a lot of people put that plenum spacer on because they feel, and I don't know if it's actually proven, it could be, maybe not, when this actually gets the air into the system, it doesn't equally distribute it through that plenum. That's why there's the uprated versions and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why there is that. So now we've obviously got access to the fuel rails as well here. So as you can see there, 1 fuel rail, 2 fuel rails. Loom comes down for all the injectors. Injectors sit underneath. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you got the pressure regulator sat here, and then Jack is now just again unhooking some awkward bits. These fail very commonly on rocker covers. Rocker covers are shit. So as you can imagine, the stuff that Jack's taken off now, we're still not at the rocker covers. You have to take all this loom off, disconnect all this. Coil packs are sat here in the centre of the rocker. So obviously, imagine this being in the car. It's just awkward, extremely awkward to do. So, like I said, they are simple engines, but they're not at the same time because there's a lot of stuff going on there. Everything is awkward to get to because it's so compact. Even though I say it's compact, look at the size of it. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. The water pipe's now off on the back. You can see here, it goes from there to this section, comes around this way and sits somewhere around yonder. Loom is off. It's absolutely massive and probably completely unnecessary, to be fair. Now, all the ancillaries are off as well on this side. The belts are off on this side. Next step, obviously, is solenoids. These are the solenoids. These actually have a high chance of failing. I've had to replace these on mine. There's one here. These are the VVTI solenoids, or VVT solenoids, and then there's one here as well. Again, awkward as fuck to get to if everything's still on the engine. So next step is, I'm guessing you're going to start taking
Doing headers first.
this side. Hey?
Clear that sides off, do headers.
Oh, okay. So you're going to do the headers next, one there, and obviously one here. Heat shields off this side. These are pretty much, I wouldn't say impossible. It is possible to do them in the car, but they are very hard to get to, aren't they?
Yeah.
So obviously, this is why it's best to do it when it's out of the car. So then after that, what we're doing?
Inlet, fuel rails.
Okay, so we're going to start this section here.
And
We're going to do rockers.
Yeah, then coil packs, plug, rockers, and then get to timing chain and take timing chain off.
There we go. So there we have it. It is pretty straightforward though, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's just, again, it's big, and some people might think, oh, it's a bit daunting because of how big it actually is, but it's not actually that bad. And I am spinning around this engine like this for a reason, because if anybody's actually looking where things go, if they're rebuilding theirs, then they can actually look at this video and, you know, see where everything actually sits, just in case, because we're nice like that. She's getting smaller and smaller. Rocker covers are off, inlet is off. You can see down there the valves on the left hand side, right hand side. They're the inlet valves, of course. And down these sides you've got the exhaust valves, which you can inspect. You can't really see it because it's really dark. So here we've got the cams, obviously exhaust cam, inlet cam. Then we've got the cam caps as well. There's a very long tube all the way down to the spark plugs. Very, very long tube, which is a bit of a weird design, but I'm guessing they've done that because of the rocker cover sticks out very, very far, and the cylinder is quite far down. So progress. I'm guessing chain side next.
Yes.
And then once chain side's off, cams and everything out, heads off, then we see the pistons. Yeah. Have you seen anything bad so far? Because to be fair, it don't actually look that bad.
Nothing.
From what we've seen. Now, obviously, the guy said he had smoke issues, which could be piston rings, which again, we ain't going to see that till we get down to the cylinders. But also, he said the valve stem seals, which we can inspect when the heads are off, can't we? We're down to the timing chain now. So the sumps come off, because obviously you need to take that off to get this cover off, which we discovered at a very early stage. So now here, this is, shall we call it the brains? This is the brains of the whole car, isn't it? This is what helps it know exactly what it's doing. So timing side is very important. So you can see some bits here on this chain. These are the old timing marks on the chain. There's one there. There's also one there. And there'll be one up here. So these will line up somewhere on these. I'm guessing this mark right here somewhere, but we'll figure that out when we rebuild it. So obviously there's 3 chains on these. There's 3 chains. So there's the first one at the front around here, and then there's also one at the back, which is sat there. Let me just see if we can focus on it rather than focusing on the thing back. Thank you, camera. So there's the second one. So it's not like a normal ribbed chain either. Excuse me. Like we see on the Astra J's, it's actually got quite a few thickness to it, which is very, very nice. Obviously there's mirrored on this side as well with another chain at the back. Obviously that's for the cams themselves. Excuse me. So you can see down here you've got the guides as well. These are they're actually made of metal, Jack. The guides are made of metal.
Not plastic.
No, they're actually metal, which I'm very, very surprised at. Because if you know Vauxhall, they like to use plastic. And to be fair, many cars like to use plastic, don't they? Which I'm surprised these have issues with the timing chain then, if they are actually metal, because usually 9 times out of 10 when they're plastic, that's when you start paying the big bill to fix it. But no, I'm quite happy that that's metal. Gives me a bit more confidence in my own car, but even though that's probably needed a rebuild right now as well. We'll talk about that. So no, it's not. Not yet anyway. So yeah, next step is take this timing chain off, take off all this section around on this side, and then take all the cams out. Heads, pistons, and probably all the baffle and everything. Yeah, all the baffle underneath, which is down yonder. You can see it sticking out right here. Obviously, you can see right there. There is the pistons, well, the rods. When it focuses. Come on, camera.
Hi.
There we go. You said high in it, like focus. So here we go. There's some rod there, rod over there. So you can see the crank in there as well, which is right here. So good progress, quick progress as well. It's actually not took as long as we thought. Building it on the other hand takes a bit of time and patience. So let's see what the next step is and see if we can find out what actually is the problem with this engine. We thought we'd show this little bit because not necessarily for the fact of we need to show it, but other people might want to know it. Hey, yeah. Maybe. So look, getting this chain off it. So the rest of the chain's off. Obviously, you can see the other side's off as well. Now, to get this actual section off, some people may get a little bit confused, but if you actually look at it, you have to push down here on this one. On the other side, it's on the top. So let me just see if I can focus that for you. So there, just here, you have to push down here. Once you push down, there's like a little hole here. I can't really show you exactly, but Jack's just going to quickly put this in to show you, just see if it all slots in.
Yeah.
So there's a little hole just there, and obviously he's got like a paper clip or a bit off a key ring. So when you actually push that in, what happens is when you push that up and then push that pin in, that holds that in place. So it's like depressed, shall we say. That allows you to then remove the chain itself. You done it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously you can see there, it's pushed that in, it allows you to remove both of the chain and the pulleys at the same time. They can be a bit stiff, but you can see it's removing both. There we go. So that's off. That's how you get that off. That little pin there, you can see now, it's not on. So this is what you push in here. This is actually like a guide. And then once you actually pull that back out, you can see it pushes this. So that is what you're pushing in, which obviously guides the chain in, and then you push the clip in through that section. That's one head off. That's actually two heads off. Both heads are off, so now we can see the pistons. Obviously, even more so, you can see why it's called a V6, because again, it's on a V. So the heads are down here, they're on a bit of cardboard. What's going to happen with them now is they do show a bit of sign of the valve stem oil seals leaking. They are wet on the valves, but they're going to go to the machine shop. They're going to get all skimmed and cleaned up and everything else, ready for us to rebuild. So ready for some new head gaskets. Now looking in here, let's have a gander. So it looks like it's burning something on there, doesn't it? But it could just be a little bit of resin McDo. And on there as well. If you look at the difference, yeah, you can see it better there. So if I stay there, you can see the difference in colour. So that one's been burning some, and so has that one, I believe. Yes, yeah, we can see the colour difference look there. So again, that kind of points as well, doesn't it, to valve stems. Yeah, valve stem seals, but obviously as well there could be a cracked ring, but we'll have to see that when we take the pistons out. Now obviously looking at the bores, that's what Jack's doing now. He's obviously rotating it so we can see the sides of the bores, see if there's any scoring, and I'm pretty sure he's going to let us know in a minute if there is any. What's that bit there? There's a little bit there, I think.
Yeah, there's slight scoring on this one.
And that one.
Yeah.
So if you're not sure what we mean by scoring, just make it so we can see this one, because you can see this one a bit better, Jack. On this end, yeah. And just shine your torch in for me, please. Thank you. So if you can see there, those vertical lines. Jack, if you... There we go, that's better. So you can see a vertical line right there. You can't see it as well on the camera. Ignore the water line, that's not it. It's next to it, you can see it right there. That is obviously a bit of scoring. So we're hoping that it doesn't actually need new pistons and that can just be honed out and it's not too deep, which the machine shop will tell us that. They will kind of give us an idea of whether or not it needs bigger pistons, but looking at that, I don't think it will. I think a hone will get that out, but we can inspect it more once the pistons are actually out. Pistons are now out the block. The only thing left is obviously the cradle, which has the cam caps attached to it as well. Not cam caps, crank caps. Let's get it right, shall we? And then the crank can actually come out itself. So over yonder is the 6 pistons. So the 6 pistons are here. The rings are worn on a few of them. Now, one thing that we did notice as well is on some of the bearings, in fact a lot of the bearings, you'll see there's a lot of scoring. So we think, if you look here, look, you can see it there as well, if the camera decides to play ball. But yeah, you obviously it's going to, we think that the crank is going to need a grind. The next step is take the oil squirters out, and then this block goes to the machine shop. It gets all cleaned up. It then gets honed out, ready for the pistons. We're using the same pistons, providing there's no damage. We're going to inspect them properly off camera. And then once everything all comes back, we can paint the block luminous yellow, I think it is. I think that's what the colour is, which is very bright, shall we say. Very, very bright. But yeah, we can paint all that and then we can put it all back together with the new piston rings and such like that. You can reuse pistons, but again, you need to make sure that you are using pistons that aren't damaged, pistons that aren't warped in any way, shape or form, rods aren't bent, but you also need to make sure you use new piston rings. So yeah, that's to clear that up. But also, obviously, every gasket you've taken off needs to be replaced. Never, ever, ever use an old gasket. You're right there, mate.
Yeah, I'm doing a bolt.
You're doing a bolt. Yeah, never use an old gasket. There's for the price that they are, it's not worth it. Get a new one, replace it, and sort it out. Simple as that. So we're going to leave this one here because you don't need to see the crank coming out, to be honest, do they? We've recorded it many times. But other than that, the engine's pretty straightforward to strip down, isn't it? Yeah. Building it up on the other hand, we're about to find out. Well, we'll find out in the next one. So the next episode of this one, we'll call it episode in this little series, we're going to be rebuilding this. We're going to go through the things that's been changed, all the new parts and stuff. And then we're going to rebuild this engine by the end of the next one. And then what we'll do is probably do a 4th episode to finish off the little series of us putting the engine in and make sure it all runs perfectly fine, as it should. So make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Make sure your bell icon's on as well. Get notified when we upload.